So we kind of breezed by your origins, and I know esteemed audience loves a good origin story. So you're there at Disney when you publish your first book. How long had you been writing at that point prior to that?
I so I was writing for myself when I was like 8. I would have stories uh that I didn't feel real until I wrote them down, and I would just write them down in notebooks and not show anyone. They were just entirely for me, for my own enjoyment. And at the time, I wanted to be an animator because I loved animation. I loved Disney movies. I loved cartoons of all kind. I have no artistic talent whatsoever in that regard. Like I can't draw. It's always something I probably could have gotten better at if I'd practiced, but I was always just so kind of discouraged by how bad my art was that I think I love the idea more of the storytelling. So it took me until college to realize that like and some professors pointed out like maybe you should try writing a book because especially um, my writing tended to be a little funny and sort of or funny for me. Uh, I don't know if that humor always translates, but like I think they kind of saw that it might translate well, especially to kind of books for kids or all ages, as I tend to think of them since I'm writing these for myself. So I started writing basically right out of college, and it took me 6 years to get an agent, and I quit constantly. Like, and I was still that was the era where I had to send out self-addressed stamped envelopes to get a response. And so I was mailing out, you know, 20 or 30 basically cover letters to agents, sending along anything that they might have asked for. Most of them only wanted a cover letter. I was trying to take this book that I had spent a year on and uh, just knock it down to like 2 or 3 sentences. I was not very good at that. So the 6 years was not a great time, and I constantly thought I was going to give up, and I did give up several times. I just didn't think it was worth it. And then I lucked into an agent who had heard the day before from an editor that she was looking for fairy tales. So she was like, sure, I'll read your book. And that was one of, I think maybe like 2 or 3 people who were willing to even like take a look at it. So, or request pages. Like that's how bad I was at writing cover letters, or the pitch letters. So, yeah, she took a look at it. She ended up representing me, and it didn't take very long after that before someone picked up Half Upon a Time. And since then, I kind of worked with that same editor for a very long time, and she ended up leaving Simon and Schuster, so I've stayed with Simon and Schuster for now, and I really like my new editor. So uh, it's that 6 years was so frustrating and demoralizing, and I always tell kids when they're asking, I'm like, first of all, practice as much as you can because you'll get better. But always just like the more you persevere and stick with it, like if I can get an agent and have everything kind of work out, then anyone can, because I was doing everything wrong. And there's so many easier ways to do it now because you can email, you can go to uh, conventions and festivals and actually meet agents and editors in person and speak with them and like actually pitch them directly. Sometimes it involves like money and stuff, but it's always, there's so many easier ways to do things now. And from other authors who I've spoken to, they're like, yeah, I had a much less difficult time. And it's so much easier just to send out emails and to attach things than ever to send out like self-addressed stamped envelopes and then wait for 6 months just to see if you get a response. So yeah, hopefully things are a little easier in that way. I'm sure it's also opened up uh, a larger audience to how to do things correctly, which means you're competing with a lot more people for the same attention. And I know from my agent, like the number of submissions that he gets is just mind blowing. So I have no idea how they do that, but it's a process and it's not fun, but like it can get you there if you stick with it. And so that's always my advice for kids. Like just keep going. If you feel that love, if you want to write and share your stories, if you love reading and you love the idea of being that for someone else, like telling your story, something that you see in your head and they're going to read and imagine in their own way. Like there's such a beauty and magic to that. But yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get there. So my origin story is very much about being persistent. And even if you give up, like getting back up and trying again, I guess.